War is remembered for tanks, bombers, rifles, and the thunder of industry, but in the shadows of World War II, another kind of weaponry emerged, not forged in factories or issued by armies, but born in desperation by people who had nothing left except courage, grit, and the scraps the world around them had abandoned. Fighters and civilians, cut off from supply lines, stripped of resources, hunted through forests and ruined streets, were forced to rely on their own hands and their own creativity. They took broken farm tools, twisted metal, shattered machinery, anything they could drag from the wreckage, and shaped them into tools of resistance. Crude, risky, fragile, and yet powerful enough to shift the course of small battles, ambushes, last stands, and daring escapes. These weren't polished weapons. They were the raw, improvised instruments of survival. When ammunition ran dry and rifles turned useless, melee weapons were born out of whatever could be bent, sharpened, or fused together. In basements, barns, and forest hideouts, people hammered sections of rebar attached pipes to broken tractor blades to form brutal axes, wrapped wooden clubs in barbed wire and nails. In the alleys of Warsaw and across the forests of Eastern Europe, these weapons gave fighters the one advantage: they could still rely on silence. They were primitive, yes, but survival often is. And even today, they remind us of a timeless truth. When the advanced tools fail you, metal scraps and simple hand tools can be reshaped into protection with nothing more than determination and skill. But improvisation didn't stop at blades. Some of the boldest acts of resistance came from people who dared to build their own firearms. In the Philippines, Denmark, Poland, WWII occupation pressed to its secret workshops, produced crude pistols and single-shot rifles from pipes, springs, and scavenged ammunition. These so-called zip guns were dangerous weapons, but even more dangerous to the people making them. They might misfire, explode, jam, or simply fail. But to the resistance, they were symbols of defiance. Owning one was a risk. Firing one was a miracle. Yet these handmade guns gave the powerless a voice, proving that even in the harshest conditions, ingenuity can fill the gaps when industry disappears. Explosives, too, were reinvented using whatever lay close at hand: a bottle, some fuel. A rag. Suddenly, a household item became a weapon capable of disabling armored vehicles. Scrap metal became shrapnel. Railway parts became grenade casings. During the Warsaw Uprising, fighters turned unexploded shells, broken machine parts, and fuel canisters into makeshift bombs. These weren't used carelessly. They were crafted by people who understood that knowledge, chemistry, mechanics, timing could mean the difference between helplessness and resistance. And while we don't apply these techniques today, the underlying lesson remains powerful. In moments of scarcity, using common materials strategically can save lives. In rural areas, farm tools became weapons, once again echoes of medieval ingenuity reborn in the 20th century. Scythes, sickles, hoes, wagon axles, they were repurposed into polearms and striking weapons. In the Balkans, fighters even transformed wagon axles into halberd-like blades, giving them reach and force in close combat. These tools weren't meant for war, but war reshaped their purpose. Today they remind us how easily ordinary objects can be adapted when survival demands creativity. Even vehicles became something new. In occupied cities, resistance groups built improvised armored trucks from boilerplates, scrap iron, and broken car parts. They weren't elegant machines. They stalled, rattled, and offered only limited protection, but they gave cover where none existed. In Czechoslovakia and Denmark, these scrap-built barricades rolled through streets under fire, carrying fighters who had no other shield. The message is clear. Protection doesn't always come from polished engineering. Sometimes it comes from the ability to look at a pile of junk and imagine something stronger. And far beyond the streets, traps and snares turned landscapes into weapons. Resistance fighters, who knew their terrain better than any occupying soldier, dug pits lined with sharpened metal, stretched tripwires through forests, and set spiked barricades along narrow paths. These traps didn't need to be sophisticated. They only needed to slow, surprise, and confuse. They bought time, created distance, and made every step into enemy territory uncertain. In a modern context, These lessons translate into using terrain, barriers, and simple obstacles to protect what matters. Behind all these improvised weapons stood one vital force: the blacksmiths, mechanics, and craftspeople who quietly kept resistance alive. In hidden workshops and dimly lit barns, they forged blades, repaired broken rifles, welded pipes into barrels, and assembled replacement parts out of scrap. In France especially, blacksmiths disguised their work as normal farming repairs, while secretly supplying the resistance with knives, spearheads, and weapon components. Their hands, their skill, their knowledge turned useless metal into functioning tools. And it reminds us today that craftsmanship, welding, forging, repairing is more than a trade. It's a lifeline. These weapons of scrap metal, broken tools, and improvised machinery weren't meant to be cut. They're symbols, reminders of human ingenuity when everything else falls away. They show us that resilience isn't about wealth or ownership, it's about creativity, skill, and the will to survive when the world turns against you. For history enthusiasts, they reveal a hidden layer of the war, one rarely shown in textbooks. For survivalists, they emphasize the mindset that matters most: adapt, create, overcome. So the next time you walk past a rusted tool, a pile of old metal, an abandoned machine, remember it is during World War II. These weren't just junk. They became the weapons of the desperate, the brave, the defiant. Proof that, when everything is stripped away, humans still find a way to fight back, to survive, to push forward. If you want more explorations into forgotten history, survival lessons, and the untold side of war, make sure to subscribe to In the Beginning and share this with someone who understands that history is more than dots. It's a guide to resilience. The ingenuity of the past still speaks today, and in its lessons, we find the tools to face whatever comes next.